restrictions into the cranial base. So you stabilize the sphenoid with this hand, and then you put your little test motions for torsion, side bending, lateral strain, and compression. Okay, so that's pretty much what we went over yesterday, and how to treat that. And then the other bone is the vomer, and the vomer sits right in the middle, and it makes the bottom part of the nasal septum, and it articulates with the sphenoid, and then goes down and directly articulates. It actually straddles the inner maxillary suture, and it's literally like a push rod, so that when the sphenoid rocks forward in flexion, it's pushing, it's translating that movement down into the maxilla, but the vomer is a single bone, right? So it rotates around the axis.
Is it in the big box on
So it's a little tiny bone, and it sticks on the a little hole. So it sits on there like that, and then it sits in here like this. And in this model, it never really stays very well.
The vomer is the one straight through the center?
In the middle, yeah.
Okay.
And so you can actually see the vomer from the back, like in this skull here. When you look in the back, there's the vomer right there. So if you had a little fiber optic scope like the EMTs use, and you went back in your throat and up and looked back, you'd be looking at the back of the vomer. Okay? And that's why the neti pot works. When you pour water in one nostril, it runs around and goes around the back and comes out the other nostril. And it does that back here. So, and as you can see, the spheno-basilar joint is right there. So you can actually access the spheno-basilar joint through the mouth if you can get them not to gag. But you can also work it right directly through the soft palate too, without actually touching it. So, yeah. So the vomer, being a single bone, has an axis of rotation, and the axis of rotation is about right in the middle right there, so that when the sphenoid pushes it down, it does that kind of motion. See, so if I push on it like the sphenoid rotating into flexion, and so see how the back of the vomer goes down, but the front of the vomer goes up during flexion. And so what that does to the maxilla are paired bones, so they're going to go into external rotation. So you'll feel the teeth widen, but the back teeth move down towards the feet, and the front teeth move up towards the top of the head. So there's a rocking like that during flexion, as well as moving apart. So it's a combined motion like that. And different people will accent different motions. So several people yesterday, it was easy to feel the rocking, but it was hard to feel the spreading. And most people, it's the other way around. When you start working on folks, you'll be able to feel the spreading, but hardly ever notice the rocking. So it's kind of interesting yesterday. So what you feel when you have Sutherland's grip on is, and you're contacting the front teeth with the upper parts of your fingers, like that, is you'll feel your fingers spreading and moving down, and your upper finger, this part of your finger moving up. So it has that kind of motion to it.
Down and spreading? Yeah,
the back part goes down, the upper part. So when your hand's in the mouth like that, you kind of feel it rocking on your wrist, and you feel it spreading like that as it goes apart like that. Okay? And then, again, so of course if you're stabilizing the sphenoid, you won't feel that. So you need to be just monitoring the sphenoid when you're first doing your assessing. And then once you see how the cranial rhythm is, and you want to put in your test motions, then you stabilize the sphenoid, and then you can put in your test motions for torsion, for side bending, for lateral strain, and for compression. Okay? And what we found is that most of the restrictions prefer to be treated with direct treatment. So, and direct treatment is, if it's stuck, pull it loose, right? If it sticks out in that direction, push it back in. So if it doesn't, if it goes easily to the left but not to the right, you treat by encouraging it to the right. So that's opposite of how we treat a lot of the neurocranial. But again, you can try following it in the direction of the and see what happens. It's just a lot of times it wouldn't at least if you did that. People experienced that yesterday. You tried an indirect treatment, it just didn't work as well on these bones. Yeah. So, but feel free to play with it and see what you find. It's okay to experiment. You know, if you're gentle, you won't hurt anything. And so then, and then to treat a compression or a side bend, you can just go in and pull it straight down, or you can grab the front teeth and pull it back like that. So the vomer sits in here like this, and you can access the vomer. Instead of Sutherland's grip, you just put your index finger right down the midline. And again, so most people's roof of their mouth curves more than, my finger doesn't bend back that much, so I can't really contact the whole suture with my finger. If you have really flexible fingers, you might be able to. So I just contact the front teeth again with the proximal part of my finger and the back of the hard palate with my index finger. And then again, with the vomer, you would just feel it rocking like that. So the vomer restrictions, again, you can have the flexion extension restrictions, but you can also have torsion restrictions and then side bending restrictions. So what side bending feels like to the vomer would be like lateral strain restrictions to the hard palate. Because that vomer's sitting in there, and if it's off to the side, that side bends it, right?
So lateral strain in the maxilla
would be side bending in the vomer. Yeah, you do the same motion. And then there's compression. The vomer can be compressed. Now, if the vomer compresses, in real life, this bone is very, very thin. So if it compresses, it can warp. And what happens when it warps?
You get a crooked nose?
You have a deviated septum. Yeah. And your nose may or may not be crooked. It depends on these nasal bones. But if you look inside, it warps off to one side inside. And so a lot of times you pick up a deviated septum when you look in their nose with your little otoscope thing. And if it's deviated enough, it will actually compress over and close off the opening to the sinus, and then you've got a blocked sinus, and then those people usually have chronic sinus problems. Okay. And I'll show you a hold today that I developed to help work this whole area all at once. Call it Spider-Man sunglasses. So, but if you notice there's a pattern. The spinobasilar joint has how many lesions? 7, right? The hard palate has how many lesions? 5. And the vomer has how many lesions? 3. So each step you're losing 2 of the lesions. It's kind of cool that it helps to remember it. So really to teach the vomer first so it's simpler, and then... But,
I have a question.
Yeah?
You used the language when you were talking about the vomer's influence on the maxilla. You said the maxilla widened in external rotation, the front teeth up and the back teeth down, correct? And then I'm looking at the next, at 4 different directions of the hard palate: flexion, extension, torsion, shear, and they're using flexion as when it widens. So I'm confused on external rotation and flexion.
Well, they externally rotate when the body goes into flexion. flexion referring to the cranial rhythm.
All right. That's the movement when in flexion.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So any other questions from yesterday?
Yeah, what was the thing that helps with sleep apnea? Besides doing exercises that we can do?
Playing the didgeridoo. Learn how to play the didgeridoo.
Right, okay.
Or that circular breathing. Learn how to do that circular breathing. Whether you play the flute or the clarinet or trumpet or whatever. To learn how to do that circular breathing, that really exercises the muscles of your soft palate and your oral pharynx, as well as coordination, and that helps people stop snoring.
There's a certain kind of breathing, I can't recall the name of it right now, but it's for asthmatics. Yeah, Butenko.
Butenko.
Is this the same kind of